Hey, what's good, y'all? Welcome to the Run the Play Network, and this is You Know Ball. Now, today, Anthony's not feeling too well. I'm going to hold down the fort real quick, run it solo, but right now, let's get into it. But before we do, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow Run the Play Network on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. But without further ado, now we're going to get into it. First thing we're going to talk about is Laker news. I know, a little redundant because it's only me today and you're going to hear a little bit more about the Lakers, but I'm going to make it quick. All right. Now, we are 12-8, but I'm not feeling too good about the team. We got blown out by Cleveland by 24 points, lost to Detroit by 12, lost to Orlando because of missed free throws and missed shots, lost to both the Suns and Nuggets by letting them both get 127 points. That's 5 losses that should not be losses, in my opinion. We're 25th in defensive rating, but 7th in offensive rating. So there's a bright spot there. Our offense looks pretty good, but we can't guard a toilet, if I'm being for real. But, yeah, we need to trade, man. We need to trade. And to be honest, I listed some players down that I would love the Lakers to be talking to, whichever team they're a part of. First, number one, I got Nikola Vucevic. He's a big man, part of the Chicago Bulls. He's 6'10", 260 pounds. That already sounds amazing to me because we don't really have a center. Our biggest guy is Anthony Davis, and I don't think he's a center. I think he's a power forward. But if we were to put a Nikola Vucevic next to him, especially now that the Bulls are looking for 2 second-round picks, so it could be 2 second-round picks and salary filler, which means like a D'Lo, Gabe Vincent, Vanderbilt, JHS. Like, if we combine those in the contracts and just trade for him, I'd love that. And we're also not giving away a first-round pick. The other names I want to say, and this is going to be a little bit more of just a vague thing, Dorian Finney-Smith, Jonas Valanciunas, Nick Richards, Day'Ron Sharpe, Malcolm Brogdon, Goga Batadze, Dennis Schroeder. Yeah, I know. He used to be a Laker twice. Maybe want him back. That's how desperate we are right now. Isaiah Stewart, Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler, Jakob Poeltl, Cody Martin, Dante DiVincenzo. 2 names that you probably would be shook to be put on here, Jay Sean Tate, and without further ado, Obi Toppin. Now, those are some names I'd be interested to hear in some trades. The one name I don't want to hear now is Jeremy Grant because now the Trailblazers still want 2 first-round picks for him. And I understand if we're going for Jeremy Grant that attaching 2 first-round picks, obviously we're going to probably get some players in that. But if we're losing 2 first-round picks for Jeremy Grant and I want to say Anthony Simons or Jeremy Grant and, I don't know, maybe DeAndre Ayton, I'm not sure if I like that, to be honest. But without further ado, that's some Laker news for you. Let's get into the big news. Now, we were talking about some trades, who I liked. Let's talk about some current trade rumors that we're hearing about. So the first thing I thought was interesting was this is by Evan Sidery on Twitter. The Nets have lowered the asking price on Dorian Finney-Smith to 1 first-round pick in early exploratory trade talks. Now, this means that, well, it's 1 first-round pick, but that makes it easier to trade for Dorian Finney-Smith. Now, this is an interesting guy to go after for, I believe, every team. He plays strong defense. He's an enforcer role for teams, can play the shooting guard, small forward, power forward role, very flexible in lineups, and he can also space the floor. And he's also 6'7", very strong. I love his defense. He's a corner. I want to say he's a corner shooter mainly, but for teams that honestly need a forward that can do a little bit of everything and wants to play some defense, this is a really good guy to get. He's on a 14. I think it says it's a $15.4 million player option for 2025-26, but I think he only costs like, well, 14 or 15 million right now. So he'd be a great person to trade for, especially if it's just a 15.4 million player option. That's not a lot of money. And for his skill set, he's 3-and-D, so I'd take that. But that's honestly a really good person to trade for, and I'm expecting almost every contender to go after him. Next person I want to talk about is Goga Batadze from the Orlando Magic. Evan Sidery talks about him here. I don't think that he will be traded because I think he's too important to the Orlando Magic. But once their rotation is healthy, Batadze will be back into a limited role on Orlando's bench. This is what Evan Sidery says. That's why I think he thinks that he's going to be traded, because they have Wendell Carter Jr. They got what's his name? They got another center on that team. I'm trying to remember. They got Jonathan Isaac. I just think that if I were the Magic, I wouldn't trade him, because bigs are really hard to come by in the NBA today. So why not, no matter what you do with Jonathan Isaac and Wendell Carter Jr., keep Goga Batadze. He averages, I think right now, since he's been in the starting lineup, probably 11 rebounds a game. Points, I want to say 6 or 8 points, which isn't bad, but the blocks and steals is what's really nice. He's a big, strong dude. I think he's 6'11", 270, but if there's a chance to trade for this guy and you need a center, like really, really need a center, this is your guy right here. He's honestly reminds me a little bit of an Isaiah Hartenstein, but he's a little bit more of a big. Next up, Evan Sidery said centers are going to be on the fly right now. So centers are the early buzz for teams gauging the trade market ahead of December 15th, when new signings become eligible to be dealt. The big man market could be very robust as well. And these big men are Jakob Poeltl, Nick Claxton, DeAndre Ayton, which was a surprise to me. I thought they'd want to keep him. Nikola Vucevic, like I've said earlier, Jonas Valanciunas, and Robert Williams III. Now, out of these big men, I don't think DeAndre Ayton is going to be an option for some teams to go after, because his contract is a little big. I think it's $25 million or something compared to the rest of these guys. Jakob Poeltl, I could see. Nick Claxton, I sort of see, because his contract actually does seem a little better since he just signed and it's 25. Jonas Valanciunas, definitely. I think that's going to be the number one guy everyone's going after, because he's making $10 million, and I think it's going to be 10, 9, 10, 10 through the next 3 years. So that's a good contract, and you could probably get a good young prospect with that, like Corey Kispert, Malcolm Brogdon, or even Sadiq Bey. I don't know, those type of players, but you're getting something out of that. I don't see that with DeAndre Ayton. Robert Williams III, I would say go after him, but the one thing that concerns me with him is he has a lot of injury concerns. I think he just got hurt again. I think that would be a very worrisome thing to try to trade for, especially if you're the Lakers. I don't want another Jared Vanderbilt on the team. Like I said, Jared Vanderbilt, very good player, hustles on defense, but if he's not in the game, it kind of screws us up. So if you try to get a Robert Williams III who has injury history, the idea of him, just like Anthony says, shout out to my boy, he awesome defensively. He's honestly really good at getting the ball around, but if he's not on the floor, it's not benefiting us. But those are the centers that are out there. And honestly, if your team needs a center, these are some good guys to go after if they're available. Just be careful with DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams III. Next up, a surprise one that I didn't expect. Grayson Allen, reported by Evan Sidery, is apparently a potential trade candidate to monitor for the Suns. He just got a 4-year, $70 million extension. He's averaging 10.7 points in 23 minutes per game. This honestly shocks me that he would be available in trade talks. I wonder, it says Allen's $15.6 million salary could be utilized to help Phoenix attain a championship level upgrade. Now, I just don't understand why they would want to trade him, because, I mean, he was good in the starting lineup. He was good coming off the bench. I just wonder if you'd want to keep that, because he was, I think, percentage-wise, the best three-point shooter in the league last year. So, I mean, if they want to trade, I'd hope for somebody coming back, like maybe a Cameron Johnson type player, Dorian Finney-Smith type player. I mean, I guess even Jeremy Grant. I could see Jeremy Grant would be awesome with the Suns, but I don't know. If I'm the Suns, I wouldn't really want to trade Grayson Allen. I like him there. I think he's a good shooter. But, yeah, that was a weird thing to me. Another report in trade rumors, 2 veterans on the Jazz, and that is Jordan Clarkson and John Collins. Jordan Clarkson's not really a surprise there. He was in trade rumors last year. I honestly thought he was going to move last year, but maybe it's because he was making, like, I want to say $15 or $20 million. I know that's a big difference, but I know it was a lot. And for what was left on his contract, I don't think anybody wanted to trade for that. But John Collins being on here, and it's awesome because he's actually going crazy right now. I think he's averaging like up to 18 points with 11 rebounds. He's playing strong. He's shooting the ball. He's scoring the ball. He's rebounding offensively and defensively. So if anybody has a chance to get him and you don't have to sacrifice too much, or if it helps your team that much, I say go after them. I say go after Collins. With Jordan Clarkson, it's a little bit more complicated because he's a guard who can score, but he's very undersized. And if you need some defense, I don't know if he can provide that much. But he's definitely a really good scorer. Also from Utah, Colin Sexton is on the trade block again. I know he was on the trade block last year a little bit, but we all know the Jazz, they're trying to make some room real quick for some guys in this draft coming up in 2025. It's a really good draft, so if they could get rid of some of these veterans that could be in the way and could cause usage problems for these new guys coming in like Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, or Dylan Harper, I'd probably trade him away too. The question is, does anybody want him? Colin Sexton, I could see people going after. He's really good offensively and defensively, provides hustle. I know it's been rough this year too, especially after the game they played against the Lakers. That was honestly, I understand you're trying to tank, but man, I wonder if there's going to be a fine for that. Will Hardy calling a timeout when Colin Sexton had the go-away bucket to win the game. I would have been mad too, but yeah, if they're trying to tank, might as well just ship him off. But yeah, if I'm looking for some guards, if I'm looking for a big power forward, talk to the Utah Jazz. Now, this was some weird news that came in, but I didn't really freak out with it, and I am a Laker fan. I wasn't really tripping, but Brandon Ingram is signing with Clutch Sports, and this was provided by Shams Charania. My bad if I said his name wrong. And it was also posted by Legion Hoops. Now, I know what people say about Clutch Sports Mafia. The guy is super close with LeBron James. It's pretty much a whole thing where whoever signs with Clutch Sports is trying to go to the Lakers. I don't believe this is the case with Brandon Ingram. I think that he's just trying to get out of New Orleans, especially the way he's treating them. Because let's be for real. With Brandon Ingram, he was traded from the Lakers to the New Orleans Pelicans for Anthony Davis. He goes there, has an awesome first year there. I think he won Most Improved Player. And then he continues the rest of his career there. And it was, to other people, basic, but he was scoring really well. Everybody saw his mid-range shot. Everybody saw how he can play make really well, move the ball around to his teammates, get people involved. He had a couple of injury scares, so obviously it went down between him and Zion. But the way they're treating him, the way they're talking about him, I went out in New Orleans too. So if I'm the Warriors, if I'm the Spurs, if I'm pretty much anybody who has room for a forward, I would go after Ingram. If I'm the Lakers, I don't think that's the best choice. I don't think trading for Ingram is smart. I don't think he helps us improve our issues, because I think the issue we have right now is that we need a center. We need a big. That should be the first thing we trade for. So if we trade for Ingram, I don't think we get a center out of that. I don't think Yves Missy's coming over. I don't think Daniel Tice is coming over. I think we just let him be part of Clutch Sports Media or Mafia and do his thing. Next up, Cameron Johnson. He just got hurt his ankle the first time and then hurt his other ankle yesterday. I don't think I would want to drop multiple first-round picks for Cameron Johnson right now. I love him. I think he's a really good shooter. As a Laker fan, I don't think after his injury history that we should go after him. For other teams, if I'm the Cavaliers, I would definitely look at him. Ever since I've been watching the Cavaliers, Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, super good guards. Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, super good bigs and forwards. The one thing I've always been stressing is their small forward position. Now, Max Strus, he's very good. He's not playing right now. I'm trying to think of the other. I think it was Isaac Okoro. He's pretty good defensively. He's iffy on the three ball. But I think that they need a small forward. I think they do. And if they could get a guy like Cameron Johnson who just spaces the floor and plays really good defense, that would be awesome. I think they would definitely win a championship too, if I'm being for real, because he would definitely be able to lock up those big guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, or at least put up a fight to make them miss a couple of shots so that they can get an advantage on the other side. But I don't think it's a point guard league. I think it's a forward league. And the better forward you have in the league, I think it's a better chance for you guys to win. But yeah, Cameron Johnson, I love him. I don't know. Next up in the trade rumor or current trade rumors, Kyle Kuzma popping up again. And to be honest, there were some teams going after him last year. Not a lot because his contract is a little. I think it's $25 million for the next or per year for the next 4 or 3 years. But the teams that are interested in him honestly got me interested a bit because, well, the Lakers, yeah, we heard about him. I kind of don't want him back because I don't want to pay him that much. But I think that's cool that they're interested in him because he did rebound pretty well. Miami Heat, I thought that was really cool. And I could definitely see Scary Terry and maybe another player going over. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Jimmy Butler. I doubt it, though, but I could see them getting them. The Milwaukee Bucks would be a cool option. He would replace, I'm guessing, Chris Middleton. But I don't know if I want to try to sacrifice for another forward. I'd probably just go after another younger two or something like that. Maybe even try to get Malcolm Brogdon in that. But that would be cool. The Golden State Warriors was the one that really interested me because, to be honest, if Kuzma were to go to the Golden State Warriors, I think he would be a perfect fit. He's a scorer, but he can shoot the three ball. He can rebound. Like, defensively, he doesn't really show that he can move his feet, but he's not really a lockdown, clamp down type of person. But he can definitely rebound the ball, and he can definitely shoot the heck out of the ball. And this honestly would make up for them missing out on Lauri Markkanen, because let's be for real. If Lauri Markkanen was offered to me for Jalen Hood-Schifino and 1 or 2, maybe even with 2 other second-round picks, I'm sending him over to Utah. I don't really care. It's Lauri Markkanen. I think if the Warriors got Lauri Markkanen, they'd be in championship talks right now. They'd either be the first or the second favorited team, in my opinion. But if they were to get Kyle Kuzma, and if they were to do it just for a couple of second-round picks and maybe Jonathan Kuminga or something, I think that's a W on their part. The last team that was on here was the Cleveland Cavaliers, which, thinking about the Cameron Johnson thing, I don't think it'd be too big of a knock on them. I think that's a big body that, even though he's not the best defensively, could still pose a threat to some of those forwards. But he isn't a clamp down person, so I don't think that the Cavaliers really need that type of skill. But yeah, Kyle Kuzma, I think he's going to be moved this year, especially with the success of Keyshawn George, Carlton Carrington, and Alexander Sarr. Even though they are losing, they do look good, and there is a future that can be built there, especially in this draft where they could possibly get Cooper Flagg or Ace Bailey. Already talked about DeAndre Ayton. The last person that I had in the current trade rumors was Scary Terry, who can be a potential trade candidate. And this was reported by Mike A. Scotto on Twitter and provided by NBA Central. Aside from Butler, the top Heat trade candidates are Miami's future first-round draft picks and Scary Terry or Terry Rozier. According to NBA executives who've spoken with Hoops Hype, the 30-year-old guard was recently moved to the bench as his scoring production is the lowest in 8 years. Now, I was a high advocate for Scary Terry to go to the Miami Heat or the Lakers, or I don't even know what other team it is. I think it was just those 2 teams. But I thought it was going to be better. Right now, Tyler Hero is having a better season than Scary Terry. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo have been a little bit iffy. Bam Adebayo's been way better, but Jimmy iffy. But Scary Terry has not been doing too well right now. And the Heat aren't doing as well as I thought they were going to be doing. But if they were to trade Scary Terry for a piece like another center, another forward, another guard, I think they can't really lose if they move Terry. But honestly, I would love for them to work it out. So it's kind of crazy to me that they have him as a potential trade candidate, especially since it is November and the season did start in October and we're 20 games in. But I understand why they would want to trade him. The question is, what type of player would they want to, or would improve that? But yeah, that's what I have for the current trade rumors right now in the NBA. But before I go on, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
We want to give a huge shout out to Boom Fantasy for sponsoring this episode. Boom Fantasy is a betting app like something you have never seen before. Their pick and spin feature allows you to cash out up to 500 times your money on a 2-leg parlay. If that's not your style, they have a traditional pick'em as well. You can play with different stat odds and different payout odds that'll shift accordingly. Sign up with Boom with the link in the description or use code RTP when signing up for a risk-free $250 bet. Simple, fun, daily fantasy sports. Gamble responsibly.
All right, y'all, welcome back. We're going to get into big games or interesting games that I saw this week. Now, one of the games I saw that I thought was pretty crazy for a second was the Boston Celtics versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, the first game they played them, Boston beat them, and they had their full roster. This time around, Cleveland beat the Boston Celtics thanks to Donovan Mitchell dropping 35, 7, and 3. And it was a close game, though. It was a close game. This game, the Boston Celtics were without Jaylen Brown and Derek White, and that's really huge because those are that's their trio. Hint. But without those two, they only lost by 4 points. I do think this is a big win for the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I am a little worried because they only won by 4 points with just Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, and actually Peyton Pritchard, who I actually want to put some a light on real quick, giving them the work. Now, Peyton Pritchard in this game had 24 points with 7 rebounds. Yes, this small little guy had 24 points and 7 rebounds. But also, he's been doing a really good job of scoring throughout this season right now in these 20 games. I think it's 23 games now for the Celtics, but if I were you guys, I'd keep an eye on Peyton Pritchard because this guy is a three-point monster. He shoots, he scores from everywhere. The thing that just shakes me is he had 7 rebounds. So I don't know if he was hustling or jumping around, but he was doing his thing for his team off the bench. And he was doing a better job of my Lakers because 24 points and 7 rebounds just from him is way better than anything my bench has been doing this whole time. But just watch out for him. He's been doing a really good job. I still think it's crazy that the Celtics kept up with the Cleveland Cavaliers without 2 of their main guys. I think Derek White has done a better job than Jrue Holiday. I think he's the 3rd star on the team. And Jaylen Brown, even though he's had his ups and downs, he's still averaging a good amount of points. I think it's been 25 or 24 points, but he's still doing his job. On the Cleveland Cavaliers side, fully healthy, I think that Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell did a really good job. I think Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are the best role players on the team. They both had 10 rebounds, single-digit points, but Evan Mobley was doing everything else. He was blocking shots. He was getting steals. Same with Jared Allen. They were just being a nuisance on the inside, so it made it harder for the Celtics to score on the inside. But it's hard to stop Jason Tatum, man. 33 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. You can't stop this man. Like, honestly, if they finish number 1, Jason Tatum might have a really strong chance to win MVP. Like he's trying to prove to Steve Kerr that it was a mistake to bench him, but at the same time, they still got the gold. But yeah, that game, and also if it weren't for Donovan Mitchell going crazy in those last 3 minutes of the game in the 4th quarter, they probably don't win, which is another worry. But it was still a really cool game to watch. Like the intensity was there. Donovan Mitchell in the clutch, just like he was in Utah, he was there. If you guys can catch the highlights, I highly suggest it, but I don't know, man. I think Cleveland just needs to make one more move. Just one more. Cameron Johnson. All right, next up, the big game. We have the Rockets versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. I wish that I could get Anthony's reaction to this real quick. Like this game was actually really fun to watch. The intensity was there. They were neck and neck the whole game. It was sad to see that Dillon Brooks and Fred VanVleet hit some big shots that I didn't expect to go in to give them the win, but it happened. Fred VanVleet hits a rainbow 3 from deep to put them up, I believe, by 3 or tie the game. And then right when it gets down to the last seconds, Alperen Sengun kicks it to Dillon Brooks of all people. He shoots a fadeaway, banks it in, puts them up by, I believe it was 3 or 2 points. But that saved them a possession because on the other side, OKC couldn't really do too much. They made a couple threes, but then they had the foul to put them on the line. But this game was fun, especially This was posted by SportsCenter. SGA laughing while getting into it with his fellow Canadian national teammate Dylan Brooks. That's what really got me into the game because it was a really physical game. Everybody was playing really good defense. Nobody was lacking. Jabari Smith Jr. was playing really well too. I think he had 11 rebounds with 18 points, and I think he had 3 blocks as well. But Alperen Sengun, he was playing his butt off. Fred VanVleet, he was a primary scorer on the team. I think it was 1 assist with 3 rebounds, but he had 38 points in this game. And it was just a collective good game from the Rockets. And now the Rockets are in the second spot on the Western Conference standings. OKC is still number 1. But I would love to see this be a playoff matchup, and I don't care if it's the first round, second round, even the Western Conference Finals. I need to see this in the playoffs. This was really fun to watch. Now, there's probably going to be some people saying, "Oh, Dylan Brooks was a little too rough. He was doing too much. He was trying to take SGA's head off." I think, to be honest, in this one, he was just being a competitor. I think he was just trying to compete. I think he was just that's what the intensity feel was in the game. I think he was just trying to win, and he wanted the ball. But every team wanted that ball in that game. I want to give a quick shout-out to my boy, Frankenstein. I call him Frankenstein, but I'm referring to Isaiah Hardenstein. He's averaging 14 rebounds right now. 14. He's a rebound monster right now. And I kept telling y'all this was a smart pickup by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Isaiah Hardenstein being here is super huge, too, with the fact that they don't have Chet for another, I want to say, 7 or 6 weeks. He's doing a really good job. And the fact that he came back at the time he did, I just think it's awesome. I think that OKC did a really good job. I don't know when Alex Caruso is coming back. I think that it's going to take him a second. But until then, Lou Dort's doing really good on defense. Cason Wallace is stepping up, playing some really strong defense, just like Alex Caruso. I wonder if he's rubbing off on him. Or apparently, he may have always just been this good on defense. I don't know too much, but that's why I wish Anthony was down here. But he impressed me in that game. And also, I think that Isaiah Joe and Wiggins are doing a really good job as well for helping with the load on the team. But this was, I think, my favorite game to watch because it was just competition left and right on both sides of the floor. Next big game that I didn't expect, so I'm actually going to put this down as an interesting game. The Spurs versus the Kings. I was honestly shook by this one because when it was going towards halftime, I saw this weird possession because in the past I've seen games between the Flippers and the Rockets when they were playing James Harden and Chris Paul at this time. Yeah, I know. I'm old. I'm a dinosaur. But they would go back and forth and they wouldn't make a bucket. They'd shoot. Somebody on the opposing team would grab the rebound, go down, shoot. Opposing team grabs a rebound. It just repeats over and over again. And that was the same type of process that was happening in the last, I want to say, 2 minutes of the game between the Spurs and the Kings. Because I thought the Kings were going to destroy the Spurs. But when I saw that possession, I was like, I really don't want to watch this. And I think at halftime, I left to go see Moana 2, actually. But when I got out the theater and checked the score, I saw the Spurs beat the Kings. And I was like, what? What happened? Because they were up by 8 when halftime ended and I turned it off. But then I see that Victor Wembanyama, yes, the alien himself, I almost called him the unicorn. He had 34 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists, and 3 blocks with 5 three-pointers made. Yes, a 30-point triple-double with 3 blocks. And in that triple-double, he had 5 threes made. And this is a 7'5" dude we're talking about. Bro, Victor Wembanyama, I'm going to just be for real. This kid is going to be amazing. He's going to be amazing. I know it's not that crazy, like, oh, you probably didn't see the whole game. Obviously, I didn't. I just admitted to you guys it did. But the fact that he had 34 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists with 3 blocks against the Kings with Domantas Sabonis guarding him, that's insane. He dropped 34 points with Sabonis on him. But I don't know, man. This game, I saw a couple of the highlights towards the end. His Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson scoring off the bench was a huge help for Victor Wembanyama. It was a huge help. I think Keldon Johnson had 21, and then Devin Vassell had 17. It was awesome to see because that's coming off their bench. Like that's almost 30 or 40 points off your bench. And then Chris Paul had 10 assists. I think he had a double-double with 13 points as well. The team, it was just a full-on team win for the Spurs. With the Kings, their new person that they signed, Jay Crowder, I thought that was an awesome person to pick up, but it didn't fully help in this game. He only had 2 points, 5 rebounds with one assist and 1 steal. But I think he'll do better in the future. I think they were down another person because Malik Monk was starting. I don't know who it was, but they did somewhat okay. I think it was just that the Spurs played better. And to lose to a Spurs team, they're now 11-9 while the Kings fall to 9-12. I just didn't think that it was going to happen. I thought the Kings were going to win, but that's just an interesting fact I wanted to put down. I'm just trying to figure out how that happened. But anyways, yeah, that was the interesting game. Moving on, another game that I thought was interesting. This happened on Saturday. And this is just a funny thing to me. It was fun watching this game, though, and this was the New York Knicks versus the Charlotte Hornets. I thought this was funny because the New York Knicks came back and won the game, yes, against Charlotte Hornets. It's not like it's crazy. I think they just did a good job to come back into the game and put them in their place. They were up by 4, and Josh Green had a chance to hit a 3 and with the remaining seconds go down and maybe have them shoot free throws and then come back and make a potential game winner. But in this instance, they had 3 seconds left. The ball goes in. They're down by 4. Josh Green shoots it. It spins in the rim for the whole 3 seconds, and then it goes in and the buzzer goes off. And I low-key felt bad. I'm glad the Knicks won, though. Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson putting on a show. And along with Karl Anthony Towns, he did a really good job rebounding, as usual. I think he's averaging 13 rebounds this year. But I just thought it was funny that that's the way the game ends. Because, in those final seconds, you're stressing the ball going in at the three-point line. And it did. But the fact that it took the whole time off the clock is just, oof, that just sucks. Mikal Bridges also had a bad performance in this game, but he made up for it against the New Orleans Pelicans. But I wonder, is this going to have Mikal Bridges go on a run? Because I don't think we've gotten a legit game from him where it's like he's benefiting from both sides of the floor. I think he's still trying to find his place in New York. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing he's doing this right now in November. But once again, it's an 82-game season, or 84 if you're counting the in-season tournament. I think it's going to be fine. I think New York's going to be fine, and I think they'll be ready for the playoffs. Next up, actually, nothing else for interesting games. That's just it. How are we on time right now, Izzy?
We're at 32 minutes.
Got you. All right. Next up in the news, I wanted to highlight Franz Wagner and the Orlando Magic. Now, if you guys have not been watching the Orlando Magic right now, oh, man. They're a fun team to watch, bro. They're a fun team to watch. As we're recording right now, I want to say that the Orlando Magic are 3rd in defensive rating, while they are 23rd in offensive rating. It's not really too big of a deal because right now they stand at 3rd in the Eastern Conference. So the fact that their defense is helping them win games and their offense, well, I mean, it's still helping them win games, but they are 23rd. That is really cool, especially to be 3rd in the Eastern Conference. They're 15-7, and I think they're just below the Celtics and the Cavaliers. Do I think they'll catch up with them? I don't know. I want to see what happens when Paolo Banchero returns, because that is the person who I think puts them back in, I want to say top 10 of offensive rating. But also I think they do need some type of point guard down there. That's why I thought Damian Lillard, before he went to Milwaukee, would have been a really cool point guard to have with the Orlando Magic. It's a super big team. If you had a point guard like that, I think they're unstoppable as a collective because they're also defensive oriented. Same with, I want to say D'Angelo Russell. I think he would be a good guard for the Orlando Magic to have. But with Anthony Simons, if they could trade for him, I think that'd be really cool. If he were made available, I don't think he will be now, especially since he's not in trade rumors, but that'd be a really awesome fit, in my opinion. I think it opens the floor, and I think it helps them offensively. But Goga Batadze, like I was saying before, he was a dude who was in trade rumors before. And I think that they should keep him because he's also a really big help to the defense. Like I said, he's been averaging like 11 rebounds in the last 5 games with, I think, 1 or 2 blocks. But he's doing his job, and that's honestly been reflecting on everybody else. But the one person I really want to highlight is Franz Wagner. Now, I'm a huge Paolo Banchero guy. Like, I think he's awesome. And I was honestly talking at the beginning of the season about not really feeling Franz Wagner. But he has really stepped up since Paolo Banchero has been taken out for a bit. In the last 5 games, Franz Wagner, 29 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Next game, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. Next game, 21 points, 7 assists, 4 steals. Another one, 30 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. And then a big one, 37 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists. Now, he's really stepped up in a big way for Orlando, and I think he's also keeping that offensive drive for them, not just with Jalen Suggs and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, but with him performing like this, I'm not going to lie, there might be a chance he can be an all-star. Those are all-star numbers right there. Those are big-time all-star numbers. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, but I wouldn't be shocked if he was in the voting. I wouldn't be shocked at all. In the last 11 games, they've only gotten 1 loss, and that was to the Los Angeles Flippers on Wednesday, November 20th. But since then, they've won all their games. And I know they played the Brooklyn Nets twice last week, or this week, and well, yeah, that was the 2 teams they played over the back, but this is impressive that they've only lost 1 game in the last 11 they've played. So that's really cool to me. Next up in the news, we have Hawks beat the Cavaliers. Now, this is really weird because in this stretch, the Hawks are the only team to lose both to the Wizards and the Pistons. They are also the only team to have beaten both the Celtics and the Cavaliers. I don't know if they just hate the Celtics and the Cavaliers. I remember that they gave the Celtics a run for their money in the 2022-23 playoffs. They brought it up. They forced the game 6, I believe, or a game 7. But it's just weird that they lose to the worst teams in their league and then they beat the best teams in the league. So I don't know. I thought that was really interesting. They're also the only team to beat the 17-3 Cavs twice. But then they're the only team to lose to the 2-15 Wizards. So I don't know. Maybe they were just taking a break or maybe they just got gassed. But in that, I want to just highlight Jalen Johnson and Trae Young. Trae Young is setting his teammates up in an awesome way. Like it seems super easy. It's almost like elementary to him. Like I think he had 1 game where he had 23 points and 20 assists. Yeah, you heard that right. 23 points and 20 assists. That's just how easy it is for this man. He's almost like a point guard now. He's taking that title away from Chris Paul. I'm just playing. He's got some time to do that. But in a way, no. Trying to remember. Chris Paul. Has he ever been to the finals? No, I don't think so. Yeah, he might be the point guard. I know that Trae Young hasn't been to the finals, but he's also young, and he has been to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Milwaukee Bucks. But he may just get there. Last in the news, I want to talk about James Harden, who's been on a tear recently. These are the last 6 games of James Harden hooping. James Harden, 39 points, 11 assists. That's the first game. Second game, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists. Third game, 43 points, 7 assists. Fourth game, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. Fifth game, 23 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists. And then the last game right here, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. Now, in that span, the Flippers have came back into the standings conversation. And I think they are right below the Los Angeles Lakers. They are 13-9 right now with in the 7th spot on the Western Conference, while the Lakers are 12-8. So they can probably pass the Lakers with another win. And they can also pass the Dallas Mavericks, putting them in 5th. Or they could also jump to 4th. So the Flippers are on their way right now. They're playing better defense. I think they are also, as a team, they're 6th in defensive rating, but 22nd in offensive rating. So honestly, if this is showing us anything, defense wins games. Let's just be for real. But it's just awesome to see that James Harden is back in his prime a little bit. I think I saw a clip of him doing his signature step back like he always does. But that's just James Harden for you. Apparently, he is the system with the Los Angeles Clippers. But to be honest, guys, I don't really have any other news. I'm trying to see if I do. I think Anthony took it with him. But anyways, I just want to end this off with saying I'm your man, Phil. And I just want to remind y'all to like, subscribe, and follow Run the Play Network on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Make sure to hit that bell as well. Wish Ant was here, so it's just me. I'm heading out, and let's bounce.